School for me right now is very stressful because of all the exams and like the pressure to get it right, because you want to make everyone around you proud, but you also like want to make yourself proud. Um, and I feel like sometimes school, like, because each teacher gives you loads of homework and they don't realize that every single teacher you have does that. So like sometimes you just feel burnt out. Like we had 2 mock exams and I literally felt exhausted. I had to like take a step back. I know what I need to do better and then like what I can continue to do. But school in general, like my friends like really close to me and they honestly like get me through the day. And like when some of them aren't there, like I can tell like it's gonna be a long day.
So for me, school at the moment I've got like mixed feelings because I am enjoying the lessons, but what I don't like is that unfortunately I haven't made any friends yet. And even though it's the end of the year, but everyone is just there to get their grades. They're not there to make friends. And I wish like the teacher, they could have done something to help us like get closer.
School for me right now is a lot, and I think it's a lot of pressure because I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well because I know the plans that I have in the future and I want to just like make everyone else proud and not have any regrets. Yeah, I think school is a lot. It is a lot of pressure, but I feel like having my friends in school really helps as well, because even just a day at school can be draining and stressful, but then just having them there, it's like a weight being lifted off your shoulders. Like you're not thinking about everything else for a minute. You're just in the moment with your friends having fun.
At the moment, I do a lot of youth groups, a lot of clubs, and I find that a big part of what gets me through the school day and just other things that I don't enjoy is knowing that I have mentors that like do see the better side of me and the potential rather than the academics on paper. And it's also nice to know that you have that support from other people outside of your family. And it's like those communities that you build and the opportunities that you get from building those networks with mentors. But it's also nice to have a moment and watch an adult just be passionate about something, because I feel like you're scared to be an adult. You've got work, you've got responsibilities and all of that, but it's nice to see someone passionate in their field still enjoying it. But then it's like with all of this time and everything that school adds, I don't even have the time to have that social engagement outside of school, especially with clubs and extracurriculums. It's like they mean a lot to me, and like I see it as in, for me to function, I need to have that creative side as well as my education. At the moment, schools are very, like, I feel like they're looking for a glass of this is what a student can do and this is what they should do, whereas I feel like you're just limiting me by putting me down this one path rather than letting me go down all of them. There is a lot of good about school, but in the sense of everything aside from the education, finding that balance is so difficult. The teachers are so willing to have a conversation with you, and the conversation just ends of, oh, we'll think about that and we'll try think of a solution, and a month later nothing's changed.
I think that I do not have the best relationship with certain adults in my life because I feel like we're at different points and we see things quite differently. So I feel like we get into arguments quite a lot, but a youth networker really helped me to express my emotions and like just have someone that understands me from like my point of view, because I feel like I didn't get that in my family, but being able to speak to someone outside of that really helps, and just know that what I'm thinking isn't wrong.
The adults in my life right now, they're actually like really supportive, like in anything that I do. And if I have a problem, I know like that I can go to them and it won't be an issue. I also feel like they understand where I'm coming from. Growing up, I feel like sometimes the adults around you don't really understand what you're trying to say. Like you don't want to come across a certain way, like being rude or something. So I really appreciate the adults that are in my life and who like take me seriously as well. I really appreciate that.
The adult in my life right now is my mom, and I've got the best relationship with her. She's someone that I really look up to in terms of like making decisions.
The relationship with teachers. In a secondary school situation, the support was great. The teachers were also there, not just to educate you, but to also educate you in taking care of yourself. But I feel like maybe in the transition between secondary and sixth form or college, they're teaching you to be young professionals, yet they sometimes limit the conversation. And also just the student-teacher relationship. As you're getting older, you're still being treated like you're kind of not on the same level, even though they're claiming that they're making you on the same level. I feel like in some places there's been great teacher support. They've been there for you, but not just for your education. They make sure you're well enough to learn. Whereas in other places, it's like, you're a student and this is what we think you should do because this is what a scientist has written, yet they look at you as a student rather than a person. I think that's where a lot of people start to lose confidence in their self because they're not good on paper, but the paper doesn't reflect their personality. Learning puberty in school, I think you'd probably start learning that from what I remember in year 7 PSHE. They go over the basics of what a period is and all of those things, which is important, and inevitably it will always be a bit awkward as teenagers. But I think the detail they go into is not enough, in the sense of they'll tell you about the cycle, but they won't tell you about any of the hormones that will actually affect the way that you work. And things like contraception and birth control, they kind of generalize it, and it's that will make you not pregnant, or that will stop you from getting pregnant, without also teaching women the side effects of it, and also the fact that it could not work and it's different for everyone. And it's kind of that very general basic knowledge which we'll need to know before we know all the depths, but they should teach us the depths, because I feel like when you get to my age, especially when you've gone to college and you don't have those PSHE lessons and stuff, unless you go look for the answers yourself, you're not told them. And there's so many women that are just left and they don't know what to do, and they're in a state of panic and don't want to tell their parents, but then they go to the doctors and the doctors tell them something completely different from what they've been taught at school. And that's the thing though, it has gotten better from what it used to be. A lot of the teachers I have now, they say they didn't get taught about their period when they were younger. So it is getting better, but I think it still needs to increase and improve.
The way school has taught us about puberty, I feel like they've sugarcoated it, or they've made it very scientific. So you don't really understand what's going on in the lesson. They're explaining it, but not really. It should be taught like earlier, in like maybe like the end of primary school, year 5, year 6. So by the time I'm in secondary school, this may happen, or I have a better understanding, which will make young girls less scared about what is to come.
I think the biggest challenge at the moment of being a teenager, and maybe this is because the way I was brought up, but it's technology and social media, and that kind of being now the main way to make contacts and to get out there. As like someone who's a creative as well and isn't good with social media and stuff, it's not like I can go out and ask people for a set anymore or anything. Everyone's like, social media this and social media that. I feel like it's being forced on at this point. Even like AI and easy access to so much. No human should have that, as a teenager or not. But as a teenager, you don't know yourself and you're still trying to figure out the world, and having all of that information, it's just an overload of the brain. With friends, I struggle connecting with them because they like to be online and they like to send reels to each other, and it's like, I have no interest in that. Finding a way to connect with people is so much harder because there's this constant block of like everything else, and also in the sense of our attention spans just as people. It's like ready there and it's easily available and it's quick access, and it's like we're not using our brains anymore. We can't focus on one thing for more than 15 seconds without getting bored and scrolling. And I just think as teenagers as well, whilst our brains are still growing, it's such a bad habit to fall into. Yet in schools they're kind of like, oh, do all of this through email, or do all of this through your phone, or like message each other and make sure you're revising with each other. And it's like you're kind of influencing everyone to use that, whether that easy access is just making us less sociable.
I feel like the world does treat us differently now that we're teenagers. I've noticed this since like year 7. Because we're exposed to a lot more things due to social media, we know a lot more things than like previous generations. And I feel like adults still don't really understand that. They still belittle us a little bit, like we're naive. But I don't think that's right. Adults shouldn't be like doing that. You want to feel like involved as well. Like you don't want to be like left out, pushed to the side.
I feel like a lot of adults just think that we're too young and we don't fully understand certain things about the world. Obviously, they can be much older than us, so they think because of their experiences, they have a better understanding. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. But I also think teenagers' mental health is really overlooked, and I think people don't understand the depth of the things teenagers go through day to day. Like having the amount of stress from exams, just that let alone is a lot and it's draining. And I feel like having to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning every single day, go to school, have revision, do all of these things and still feel okay is a lot. I think you can't be expected to have this strong attitude all the time. Everyone has their down days, and I feel like adults don't really take that into consideration. And exams, let alone, but they could be dealing with family problems, friendships, like body image, self-esteem, all these other things that teenagers are dealing with day to day can be very challenging. I feel like adults don't really like understand that. Even just being like a supporting figure and just saying like, oh, are you okay? Because you can't expect a teen to just start pouring their heart out to you, but even just being there for them and just having someone there to just check up on you, like, can make all the difference.
One thing that's really challenging about being a teenager is whenever you go through something and you react, a lot of people, they say, oh, it's because you're going through puberty. Like, oh, you're being dramatic because you're going through puberty. Oh, it's not this, but you're reacting that way because you're going through puberty. Like, they don't sit down and take seriously.
The things I like being a teenager is I feel like you still get a lot of freedom. You still have so many things that you can do and explore the world while still being at a younger age. And I feel like when you're a teenager, you still have responsibilities, but you don't have as much as when you get into that adult stage, like paying rent, all these sort of things you have to pay for. But when you're a teen, that's not really your responsibility or things you're thinking about at the moment. And I feel like when you're a teenager, you're finding yourself, you're finding your identity. There are many different things. You're finding new friends. You're still experiencing the world for itself.